Hey guys, it's Robert Powers. Today I want to do a video kind of explaining the difference when you get shoes resoled, what the difference is between a half sole, okay, having a half sole done, and a full resole, okay? So first, to give you a basis of understanding, I have other videos more in depth on this, and I'll give you a link to one of them below in the description. But the first thing I have to do is kind of get you to understand basic shoe construction. So here's an old pair of Allen Edmonds torn apart. As you can see, they're pretty ugly, pretty bad shape. They have this gigantic kilt on them. I don't think anybody would wear these, so I didn't feel bad about tearing it apart. But when you remove the sole, first of all, you can see on a Goodyear welted sole, you're going to see stitching, okay? You see the stitching, and it's worn through there, but you see the stitching goes all the way around the outside of the shoe. The sole, the outsole, and it's not really very thick, okay, is sewn to the welt. You see this other piece of leather here? Okay, this is the welt. You can see it's only about that wide. Now in the case of Allen Edmonds shoes, they're 360-degree Goodyear welted, which means it goes all the way around. Compare and contrast that too. This is a Johnston & Murphy, and it's hard to see here, but you can see Aristocraft, okay? This is 270-degree Goodyear welted. Now it looks the same as the Allen Edmonds, right, where it goes all the way around, but if you really look in the light, you'll be able to see the row of stitching, and it actually is going to stop right about there, right above the heel. So let me get in the light where you can see it. Okay. Do you see the, I'm trying to get it where we can see it. It's not easy to see. Do you see the bumps there? You can see the stitching, right? Goes all the way back, and then right after, right above the heel. I'm trying to pull it out of the way. Can you see right there? Do you see that little skive, little V right here? Right there? Do you see the welt stops? Okay, you can see it a little more clearly there. So the welt stops and there's no more stitching. So what that means is this shoe is 270-degree Goodyear welted, 270 degrees, okay, meaning 3/4 of the way around, meaning that there is no welt between the sole above the heel and the body of the shoe, okay? So back to the resole. So there's two different ways to do a resole, like this. Now you can see the cut here. This is called a skive. I mean, I'm using the engineering term. My background is in engineering. I worked in tire machine design. You know, my degree is in mechanical engineering technology. There might be a different shoe terminology I'm not aware of. But if you notice where the sole, the original sole, that's more easily visible over here, was cut, was right here. So between here, okay, to here, the two are overlapped, and it's cut at an angle, okay? And tire, you can barely see that line right there. In tires, they call it a skive. So when you build a tire, everything in a tire is made from something flat, okay? So you don't want to butt the rubber up against each other because it's very easy for it to come apart. So what they do is they skive it, they overlap it, and they taper both pieces, okay? So my understanding, the half sole, I think the advantage is number one, especially on a 270-degree Goodyear welted shoe, you're not disturbing the original sole where it is, I believe, bonded to the upper, okay? Advantage number two, you're using less material, so theoretically it should be cheaper and easier to perform, okay? Now usually what you're going to see, I see most of the time when I see these done, wherever that line is, they'll often paint the sole black. Sometimes they'll do a design where they, like, you know, stop the paint line here, basically to kind of hide that and mask it, okay? Now, the disadvantage to me is it's, I don't know, I've seen them on Instagram where a lot of cobblers do them, where they're like invisible or almost invisible. You know, you can't tell, but oftentimes they come out like this. So this one, in my opinion, they did a pretty poor, whoever did this did a pretty poor job. Now, you can see right there, let me try and get this in the light, okay, where the skive starts and it stops up here. Now, if you look at that line, there's a better view of it, it's kind of wavy, okay? So I don't think this cobbler did a very good job on tapering the original sole, nor did he do a very good job on tapering the replacement. And what it resulted in is, can you tell, it's like it's got this big hump. You know, it's pretty ugly, actually. You know, and another reason I don't like that, you know, is because I often, myself, because where I live, it's wet more of the year than it's dry, I like to put on these protective half soles. And I almost can't really, no, I can't, I mean, number one, this shoe is too worn to really put them on, but it's going to stop here right on this hump, you know, so it's just unsightly to me, okay? Now, let's compare that to, okay, this shoe is a pair of Allen Edmonds, okay? And this shoe has had a full resole. Okay. Now, when you look at it, if you didn't know what you're looking at, you really would not know that it had ever been resoled. Okay. Now, let me tell you how I know this shoe has been resoled. Okay. If you look at the sole itself, if you look at what it says on there, I can't even really read all of it. I see genuine leather, super prime. I think that has something to do with the grade of leather using. And there, do you see there? This is interesting. It says 10/11 iron. Iron, I should have made sure, if I'm wrong, I will put a correction in the description. Iron is a measure of thickness, and I believe it's 40,000ths of an inch, okay? So 10 iron, okay, would be 10 times 40,000ths or 400,000ths thickness, or about 4/10ths of an inch, a little more than 3/8 of an inch thick. But I don't know why, but leather thickness is measured in irons. I'm sure that goes back to, like the 1700s or something like that, okay? But the point is, okay, this is a replacement sole. The reason we know that is Allen Edmonds, okay? Allen Edmonds' original soles, I'm going to show you a few examples, okay, always say Allen Edmonds on them, okay? For example, okay, a pair of Allen Edmonds Chesters, an older model shoe. And this shoe was probably made in the 90s, early 2000s, something like that. You see there? Number one, it'll always say Allen Edmonds in this area, on the arch area. And then number two, this little design here, the doo-doo-doo, it's like the line in the, like a dot or whatever. So that goes, now obviously you can't really see it where it's worn, but it goes all the way around the shoe. Okay, and then also, not all of them, but I mean, there's different models. Some of them have half leather, but all the basic Allen Edmonds shoes, I think since probably the 80s, have this design here with a V on the heel and that AE logo in that little box right there. Okay, so that's what that would look like. You'll see a change when you go, okay, let me show you another example of the same thing. Allen Edmonds, okay, Maxfield tassel loafer, very nice. And you can see there the Allen Edmonds logo, okay? Now, it's interesting enough, though, is this one, this is an original Allen Edmonds sole, and maybe it's because it's a loafer, it doesn't have that, does not have that design, the lines and the dots, okay? Here's a pair of Shreveports, right? And now you can tell the newer ones because, do you see here? Allen Edmonds is in line, and it has the 1922, stamp, okay? And again, you see the right? And these shoes, right? These are my McAllisters in Oxblood. And if you want to learn more about these shoes, I did a full shoe review on these in my video section. But it's got, again, that later stamp with the Allen Edmonds inline, okay? And interestingly enough, this one no longer has that line design on the outside. So, anyway, with the full resole, I think the biggest main advantage is it just looks aesthetically a lot more pleasing. So I don't know if there's the difference in durability. I can tell you this: I had one pair of shoes. I don't have them anymore. When I had this redone, now I'm sure a cobbler would say that it was because it was done improperly. This started to peel a little bit right here in the middle. Okay. Oh, here's another reason I would say that this shoe was not done very well: is the stitching. The new and the old stitching don't line up, where compared to the way this one was done, the new and the old stitching line up. So I think I've covered everything I want to cover, but anyway, that's kind of some of the differences in the way shoes are resold. So I think when you're going to get shoes resold, you should make sure you know what you're getting in a half sole or a full sole, and that way that'll leave you a little bit more educated, okay? So anyway, I hope that helps. If you want to subscribe to my channel, hit the subscribe button and click on that little bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos come out. All right, thanks guys.